Hello again. Today we are going to be replicating this album. But I am going to add more details to the center, so it's going to be a little bit different, but the same on the outer rings. And we are going to turn this into a clock. And we are using Colourarte Prism Pour and ColourartePrimary elements on this. The Prism Pour is good on multi-surface, acrylic paint, canvas, wood, metal, and glass. We've got Baltic Amber. We have got Poinsetta. And we have Mayan Gold. And then in the Primary Elements blend, we have GreenTea. So I'm going to show you what this looks like before we mix it with our Vivid Enamel. We mix about a ½ ounce of Vivid Enamel with about 1/8 of a scoop of Primary Elements. And then we put them in these little cups to keep them fresh. And I stir it with a toothpick because you can get down there in those corners and crevices of the cup. And if you don't use your paints very often and they're in these cups, I would suggest to at least try to stir them every couple days to keep them vibrant. So this is what this looks like before it is mixed. Very pretty shimmery color. And about 1/8 of a teaspoon, or 1/8 of a scoopful, is about, and you kind of want it to be a little bit heaping, probably about like that much. And you can always tell if you don't have enough pigment in your blend because it will, the dots will kind of pull away from themselves a little bit. And that's the only time this paint does that I have noticed. And I've been working with it for about 2 weeks now. So this color turns out to be this very rich green color. And I have this little toothpick holder. You can find this on Amazon. And I will post the link in the description. So if you're interested in it, you can get it. You can save some money on Colourarte pigments if you use my code in the description. So we'll just stir this up a bit so you can really see how rich the color is. It's really amazing to me how dark this comes out, but it's beautiful. Because see, it doesn't really match what's in the jar, but once you mix it, this is what it turns out like. It's just so pretty. Shimmery. You just make sure you stir it up real good. And you're going to do that with every one of these paints that's in the cup. Sometimes you will get little crusties around the rim of the cup. Just make sure you kind of wipe them off before you start dipping your tools in there, because sometimes it can get down in the paint and come out in your dot, and you don't want that to happen. I just wipe my toothpick off and I will use it again. So for our first set of dots, we are going to use the Baltic Amber. I'm going to use the other end of the Q-tip now, or not Q-tip, toothpick, and just kind of stir it a little bit. These are already pre-mixed paints, the Baltic Amber. I just like to stir it because it's been sitting. This is an old album that I am using. As you can see, I will clean up the back side of it when I get done with the paint and I want to seal it. But for now, we're just going to start our dotting process. And again, this is what it's going to look like aside from this being filled in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw this in closer to the center. And then I might add a different detail out here, or maybe an extra couple rings, and then do this. So it'll look virtually the same. But we're going to turn this into a clock. I wasn't sure if I told you that already. May have, but if not, and you're just tuning in, now you know what I'm doing. I have these numbers here, and I have these do-it-yourself mandala tools. Each one has got a one. Well, it's got a number. One end is odd and one end is even. The sizes go up. So we're going to use the numbers, and I'm going to lay it down here so if I'm not talking, you know which size tool I am using. So we just got to see what's going to fit there before we start. I think a 4 might be good to start with. So you want to load your tool up. Make sure the whole end is covered. Lay down your first dot. And I think I got that one a little too close. I think we need to go down a size because here is my next line and I don't have enough room to lay it down. So we're going to go back down to a 3. Sometimes it's trial and error to get off any dots that you laid down. Oh, look at me, I laid that right down on top of that paint. Okay. Use a pointy Q-tip. Roll it off, dip it in the water on the other end, and wipe it off. So now we're going to go down to number 3. I always do the north, the south, the east, the west to start. And then I'll go back and fill in the rest. This just gives it a more symmetrical look, and then once you've laid down those first dots, you can carry on however you want. My end goal is to make sure that my outer ring of dots line up with the clock. So I always try to go across from the dot that I am laying down because, again, it just makes it more symmetrical. Constantly turning your piece as you go. And your tools, if you happen to be recording. As you can see, this looks a little bit off to me, so I'm going to fix these two dots right here. And we're going to redo them because we want them to be as perfect as a circle as we can get it. Some of those things are, the circles are easy to get off on, especially if you are just starting. But there is a way to fix it, which is, I wish I would have known how to do this, fix it when I first started. I would get so frustrated. Those were the days. So I kind of wiped off this one, so I'm just gonna dot it again. This paint, there is no snapback. Like some paints you have that look metallic and shiny, they like to have this long string that comes up when you pull your tool up. This paint does not do that. And it does have a little bit of a bubble, but that bubble evens itself out. It's absolutely beautiful paint. So now we are going to go up to, we're going to switch over to the Mayan Gold. And we're going to stir it. Again, this is a Prism pour paint. It's already pre-mixed. You do not have to mix it with anything for this technique. And we'll get to dotting. Now on this one I'm going to skip. Here is the Prism pour again, just an example of the bottle. Again, it's good on canvas, wood, metal, glass. I'm going to set my water out there because it's getting in my way. So now we're going to do it looks like every other dot. One, and I just want to make sure that I'm going to have enough space so it's evenly distributed. So here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, so we have 13 dots. That's not going to work. So we're going to do a couple more rings of dots until we can get it even. So we did a 3 last time. We're going to do a 4 this time in the Mayan Gold. Now you don't have to go across from each other. You can go in a circle. So you make sure you lay it down kind of in the same space, but just above it between the 2 dots. This video will probably be in 2 parts. We're going to dot all the way out, and then once it dries, we'll go back and dot, top dot these dots to make it look more dimensional. Give it depth. Give it purpose. Alright, let me take a look at it. think these two dots right here are too far out, so I'm going to fix it. This paint does dry very quickly. I'd say it takes about an hour for a layer of paint to dry, which is beautiful. Any paint I've used previously, it usually always takes a day before I can go back in and do any top dots on anything. So we're just going to try and get these a little closer because it looked like it went off. So now we're going to switch back to the Baltic Amber Prism pour, and we're going to go up to a 5. We've already stirred this paint, so we do not need to do it again. Just need to make sure we don't have any crusties that's going to fall into our paint. Remember, get as close as you can to the other dot. Okay, now we're going to go back to the gold again, and we're going to do a number 6. I'm going to stop a moment to take a look at that to make sure See these first two dots up here, I think I need to fix. They just needed to be a little bit bigger, and it was the first time I loaded my tool, so sometimes that happens. Okay. I didn't get all that glitter off of there from that paint. If you don't get all that glitter off, it will be noticeable in your final outcome. And look at there, I just messed up that dot. I can't tell you how many times I've messed up dots. That's in my journey. I have completely flipped over pieces before that I've held in my hand, like almost to the point of done, and dropped it and flipped upside down. It is very frustrating when it happens, for sure. I think we're going to go around one more time with the Baltic Amber, and it will be a number 7. I don't know if I explained where I got my tools from. This is do-it-yourself mandala stones. I order them on Amazon. I've been through several sets of tools. I've done the ends of drill bits. I've done Mark's mandalas. I've done the acrylic ones that most people first start out with. These. So far, these are my favorite. They lay down the dots really pretty, and over time, as you use your tools, you will notice that they get wore out. And that's what happened to mine, so I decided to make the investment and get another set of tools. I'm not really liking how my circles are coming out. That's why I keep redoing dots. because it looks off to me. See how some of these are bigger, and then you have the smaller ones over here. I think these two dots need to be done again. These pointy Q-tips you can also get on Amazon, and a lot comes with it. Like, there's a lot of Q-tips. Like, I think there's like 6 bags, 4 bags that look like this. 200 in each. And the bag lasts you a while. At least it has me. It just depends on how many times you make a mistake. And in the beginning you will make a lot of mistakes. I think this is my second time ordering Q-tips, the second round, and I've been dotting since I think I want to say 2016. Okay, that looks better. I'm just trying to decide what I want to do next. Now we're going to do gold again. And I think we're going to do 9. This time I'm going to turn it again, and hopefully I can keep my dots pretty lined up without having to erase them. There is a peak there on the paint, but like I said, it goes down into itself. It doesn't stay peaky. Okay, this time we're going to stick with the Mayan gold, and we're going to go down in sizes now because I want to create a petal effect. So that was a 9. I think we're going to go to a 7. So we are going to go above it a little ways. The petals are a little bit of a challenge, and I still think they're a little bit of a challenge for me. They're starting to come out better, but it's taken me a while to get to this point. And you'll see why we go out so far in just a few moments. But you want to stay above your last gold line. There is some slight, like, from the label underneath, there's some slight lines, and I'm using that as my guideline of where I laid down the dot. I think that one, okay, that one's good. It just looked like it was a little bit closer than it needed to be. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to use another tool side that's down in size. So we're going to go from a 7 to a 6. And see, I almost had a catastrophe and threw that into the paint. So I want to put a dot on each side of the big dot we just laid down. Without touching the big dot. Oh, see, I touched it. It happens, it happens. Yeah, let's try that again. keep wanting to pull this closer to me, and I know you guys can't see it. That was a 6. Now we're going to go down to a 4 to create the petals. Just stuck my finger in the paint. But it looks like it's going to be okay because I'm going to fix it. That was a number 6, no, 7. Sometimes you come really close on your petals. And by that I mean they're really close together. So you may not lay down a full dot. Now we're going back to the Baltic Amber. I want a bigger dot here. I just want to find out what kind of size tool I'm going to need. we're going to do a number 8. We're going to use the same color, and we're going to put a couple dots on each side of that one. We're going to go down to a 6. I don't know, 7. Pick it up and look at it a little bit. Look how shimmery and shiny those colors are. It's looking very good.